Hey guys! Oh gosh. Happy Friday! Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a good week. We did. Um, we are here tonight with Marge. Pappy is, I guess, not coming out. He is home, but not coming out. I'm sure he'll be watching in the comments. But, yeah, I hope everybody is well. If this is your first time here, please feel free to pop in the chat, say hello, let us know where you, who's that lady?
Where are you
I'm
looking?
Oh, right here.
Hi, Larry.
Larry, who's that lady? But yes, welcome everybody. If you're new here, like I said, and you are able to pop into the comments, please feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're coming from, how you found us, whatever. If you are a person that is in recovery or somebody that has a loved one that is in recovery or in the throes of substance use disorder or even in treatment, that's what we're here for. We're here to share our experience, our strengths, and our hopes, and to share it out with you guys to know that there is support out there. There are people out here willing to talk with you, and this is a safe place. So if you are struggling with, an issue, please feel free to pop it into the comments, and we'll be happy to share our experience. There's people in the chat that are also here for the same reason, and they will also share their experiences with you as well. Pappy is, I guess, gonna watch from inside the house.
Hey, Rich.
I appreciate you too, Barb, and I'm so glad that you keep coming back, and I'm, so grateful to, be able to be here for you. But tonight we're just sitting back and we're just talking recovery and helping it out here. So this is Marge. She is a longtime friend, actually, and she, has a lot of good information. She shares a lot of good thoughts. She shares a great deal of experience, and you do, and
Well, I call it my own recovery.
yes,
My own, in a sense. I call it, through my loved one's substance use, it really made me take a look at myself and where I needed to change. Things that I was doing that was not healthy, for sure. It in a crazy way for me to say, I really grew over his addiction, and he has as well.
and it's crazy, isn't it, when you can see the change in everybody when you start getting the education and seeing how much support is out there and how much the support we get. It changes our reaction to so many things in our lives, not just our loved one that is struggling, but with everybody we come in touch with.
Yeah. My life is completely different with the way that I communicate with people, even the way I react. I was so full of anxiety and fear before, and I don't. I mean, there's still. Don't get me wrong. I mean, still stuff pops into your head, but it's nothing like before. I can get comfortable with the situation. Mm-hmm. I'm not out of control myself.
Yeah, and that's important. And I need to work on that a great deal. I know what I need to do. I know how I need to do it. But
Well, it's
happens.
practice.
Yes, practice.
We're not going to be perfect at it. And I don't know. I didn't come really prepared for tonight, but if it's so be it, there are I brought my little book that I write down things that I think are helpful, little phrases or something that somebody else said. Yeah, I can share some of them. But you and I talked about the stages of change recently.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you talked about that on here recently?
Well, we've actually gone through the entire Smart Recovery book. So we did an episode a long time ago on the stages of change, and that's important. That's like the first step that you can really read up on and get a better understanding to how we can approach our loved ones and to see where they are in their journey with recovery, because it's not all black and white. You know what I mean?
No, because there's a lot of ambivalence too.
Right.
And I think one of the big starts is, because me with the partnership and how that's an organization that I volunteer for. And if you ever go online to look up drugfree.org, there's a lot of good resources with them. But one of the things they try to tell parents in the beginning is behaviors make sense. Mm-hmm. So understanding or trying to understand why is it that your loved one's doing this,
right? It
can maybe help you understand more, so you can be a little more helpful instead of being negative.
Mm-hmm. Because, what's our first reaction? Knock it off. Just stop. Why are you doing this? And we're just so frustrated, and the fear comes out in anger. And, we have to learn how to step back and make that change. That's a major change. Because we always seem to pull out the past. We always seem to pull out what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, and nobody really wants to hear that.
No, and we because this disease is such a scary disease. We know what it could lead to. All of our frustrations are coming from fear. It's just absolute fear that we're going to lose our loved one, and and our loved ones get so into this addiction, sometimes they're so deep into it that they feel the best place for them is death, because they're tired of living this disease. They're tired of the wake up, find money, go get high, wake up, find money, go get high. And it just gets so draining for them that they're better off dead. And that's what we see as loved ones, how it's just destroying them and eating them up, and just learning how to approach that in a different way, taking away the anger and the fear and looking at the positives that, every step that they take to become sober is a step forward. It's a step to recovery, to a full-blown recovery. But it's a lot of work.
Right, and trying to be compassionate, which I didn't have any of that in the beginning. And I'm just saying in reference to even my judgment on drug users. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know any better. Exactly. And I was like, well,
You can say they're assholes.
And well, you know, they deserve anything and everything that happens to them, and
Right.
like, you know, we'll just, like you said, just stop. But
Yeah.
it's not like that at all.
And I think everybody looks at it that way. I belong to a lot of sites, and you hear people that like scroll through and, oh, they're losers, they're junkies, they're this, they're that, or whatever. And you know, I was that person until it hits home so close that you have to find the education. You'll do anything you possibly can to save your loved one. And you're going to make a great deal of mistakes. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just you're learning. It's a learning tool. And unfortunately, I didn't get this education until after my loved one
Right. Well,
was where he was in his recovery. And that was the saddest part for me.
well, I don't think, Lori, it's hard for anybody else to even choose that education unless there is something in their life that's touched them. Because otherwise, the other aspects of their life, they're busy doing other
Right.
things that really the interest in the addiction issues doesn't.
It doesn't. Like, I would have never popped into, you know, a
Al-Anon meeting.
but no, and like an event, like when
Oh, right.
I first got involved in this, there were events everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you could find, you know, a town hall meeting. You can see something in a school. You know, everybody was talking about it. It was no longer that anonymity. Everybody was, you know, talking about it, sharing their stories. And when, you know, I'm sure there was many more before that, but I never took notice to it because I didn't know there was a problem in the family.
Right.
You know, and I come from a family of addiction. Like, I've had it around me all my life. But it wasn't until it really hit home and there was no resentment towards my loved one, where there was resentment towards my father, who was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and only because I didn't get what I wanted, you know, like every other kid was getting. You know, we moved around all the time, so, you know, that was resentment. I'm not about to get educated being so resentful. Wasn't until it hit home, close to home, that I was like, now I have to save this person because I'm older, and now I have to do everything I can to save them. And, you know, you just jump in when you need to jump in. And with everything out there, I am so lucky to have this hit at the time I did, because I knew there were so many resources, so much help, so many groups, so many people out there to help me along the way. And then COVID hit, and then nobody had anything.
That's true. Yeah, I'm sure it was a very hard time for many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no support. There's Zoom meetings, but
Even trying to get into treatment was even harder than
Yeah.
ever, and it's hard to begin with.
and then you come out of COVID and there's no venues, there's no town hall meetings, there's nothing going on in the schools to say come out and learn about this. And it's just, I don't know, we need to get in, because we have people dying every day. And I'm not seeing it out there. And when you are involved in it, it's all over the place. You find every avenue out there to a place to go. And that's why I loved getting involved, and then with Beyond Addiction and learning that program. That, well, first I started with Al-Anon, and I didn't really click with Al-Anon. The meetings, I love Al-Anon's tools. I love their
The Sesh book.
the Sesh book. I love their they have so many different things out there that you can read and look at and learn. And I just didn't like the meeting. I have to talk, so I need to get out what I'm feeling, and that's what I need.
People need to find their right support group, though.
Exactly.
There's a lot of support groups out there, whether it's online, Zoom. I mean, not everybody's in a Zoom or
No.
an in-person. I mean, there's Nar-Anon, there's Al-Anon,
Al-Anon.
there's, well, of course, the AAs and the Smart Recoveries, and you can't just go once.
No,
I
you
really
can't.
do believe that a lot of them will say, try it 6 times or something like that. I forget.
Yeah, it is 6
And-
times.
And yeah, that's important. And when you find that support group that's close to home, I think they're even better. Like I love the partnership, and they have great Zoom meetings. However, I feel as though the people should also have a local support group, because that's where you
Absolutely.
learn about your local treatment centers. You learn about your local recovery houses.
Exactly.
Which ones to stay away from or which ones to go to. And you're not going to find that out by doing your support online
Exactly.
in another country or another state.
Right.
So for me, I do encourage you to find something local also.
Yes, and in person. That makes such a difference, I feel, to me. I liked the Zoom at the time because I could make dinner. I could, clean up while I'm Zooming, but you just didn't have that connection like you do in person. And to really hear somebody's story. And that's why I like the in person. But I think it's really important also, if you're a family member out there, to make sure that you check out the Zoom meetings for open meetings, so you understand why they're doing what they're doing, how they're finding their way to recovery through these meetings. I think that's a one, just positive for the family members.
Yeah, especially if, like, when we had the speakers who were in recovery, that was a big eye opener. And it is sad how we don't hear much of that anymore. And it's helpful when you don't have that good bond with your loved one. But we try to encourage to change your communication and to ask them to be really curious and be, again, the compassion and not. It's going to take a while for your loved one to see that you're truly not trying to judge them or control them, but when we can try and understand.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, yes, going to those open meetings are awesome, and you may be like, oh gosh, I wonder if that's what's happening with my.
Right. And like you said, we shared it on here before, that we used to have the patients come in from the rehab we would have our family meetings at, and to hear them say that they didn't realize that their substance use was affecting anybody but them, and to hear how bad it was affecting the entire family, and they're like, whoa, here I'm thinking I'm just hurting myself, and here I'm hurting everybody around me, friends, family, what have you. So I think it's important that you check out these open meetings. It's very important. It's very, very helpful as well. So, but yeah, Stages of Change is one of the first steps that we can take in the education of helping our loved ones, helping us. They both coincide, because our drug of choice is our loved one, and we'll chase them as hard as they chase their drug of choice. So
What are the stages of change? Stages of change are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. So what does all that mean? Pre-contemplation, of course, is kind of self-descripting. Is they're thinking about it, but they're not quite ready to make the step.
Right.
And so when somebody's in the pre-contemplating stage, we can try to understand, well, why? What is it that's holding you back? And this is the time to try and dig into, well, what would it take for them to seek treatment?
Exactly. And it could be anything. You know, they could be, you know, I don't want to go because they're going to like find out why I'm taking drugs or drinking. And that could be holding them back. That's the fear. That's them not being comfortable in their own self. And that's where, you know, you have to really be prepared to try and help them out with that. Getting comfortable with
Right. Well,
talking
again,
about it.
trying to understand it and encourage. It's all about trying to make. We all want that connection. We really want a better connection. We don't. The relationship that we're having with them or have had with them has been turmoil, has been fear, and we just. I wanted a better connection, and through learning about my how do I always say that? The role that I was playing in all of it that was not healthy, and changing it. Even my older son, who is not or was not in the throes of use, he could see the difference, and he's like, "Yeah, Mom, you really have changed."
Yeah,
and I'm glad. But again, getting back to our loved one, when we can talk to them and try to understand and encourage and try to motivate.
exactly. What can we do today to get one step closer to a better life for you? You know.
Right. Is there anybody out there right now that's listening that can say that their loved one is in that place?
Right. Exactly.
Are any of you guys out there experiencing that now? I don't know who.
I don't know who's out there. So,
that they might be trying to make a change right now.
and that's, you know, trying to figure it out, and it's really not up to us. We can only be there to, you know, say, hey, you know, maybe, you know, I've been reading up on this myself, or I've been talking to other people about this, and they see that the first step is maybe, you know, talking to somebody that has gone through the process. Maybe, you know, if you want, we can find an open meeting and go ourselves and, you know, take that first step, or we can call, you know, a rehab or a treatment center and discuss our options. Like, but let's do this on your terms. Like, you know, I know it's not easy, but it's a step. It's showing them that we care and we're not judging them and keeping them from possibly seeking that first step to recovery.
Right, it is hard. Right, it's hard, and it's hard. But as for us, it can be. Of course, it's up to them to make the whole step. But one thing that I learned is I couldn't. Yeah, in the beginning, I'm calling around. I'm trying to make the appointments. I'm trying to get them in. But then what I ended up learning was it's just, you know, time, of course, lapse, or it was better for me to have a phone number or two or somebody, and to say, here's a phone number when you're ready, if you would like. But I learned the hard way with that wasn't going to get me anywhere.
Right.
And just allowing him to make the choice.
And if you're out there and you're that person that loves your person, and you know that you need the support, how hard is it for you to walk into that meeting the first time by yourself? I was very fortunate because my family was in town, so they came with me. So it was easy for me to walk in, but could I have walked in by myself the first time? I don't know, because I'm not one to be comfortable with doing something like that, number one. But find
And-
somebody.
Right, and it's scary because we know how much people judge.
Exactly.
And walking into a meeting and thinking you're going to see someone you know, which we're laughing because that's what happened with the two of us.
Exactly. I'm like, why didn't you call me? You knew what I was going through.
And still, like I have a friend who has not, she needs the help, she needs the support, and people still keep it quiet. It is so quiet, and yet it truly is happening so frequently that we don't realize it because not enough people are talking about
Exactly. COVID really has put the brakes on such a difficult disease that cannot be handled by themselves. And we need to get back to that place. We need to get the schools on board, to get these conversations started again, to get the community out there and listening and hearing us, because we are losing way too many people. And I don't know if you have noticed, but I'm seeing a lot of alcohol versus substance, pills, drugs, in the meetings. I'm seeing much more alcohol being the issue.
Well, is that because of the COVID? Because it does take some time, and it does happen a lot with older, like 50s, 40s, and so they're all been drinking during that time.
Yeah, and I am so positive that is the leading cause, and a lot of people are still working remote. A lot of companies saw how much money they were saving on having your person working in a building, that they had to pay the electric, they had to pay the water, they had to pay the insurances, like all of that. So they saw how much they were saving with people working from home, that a lot of companies still are remote. So now you have people that have been drinking because of the isolation.
Mm-hmm. And the boredom.
Exactly.
It can be boredom too.
And we have people that, may not even have the addictive brain and are drinking, and it's just gotten so common. It's like, we have a bottle of water, we have a bottle of vodka. Like, they're gonna, I'm bored. Water's not gonna help me.
Right, let's get
through
happy.
this. Yeah. And it's sad and it's scary, but that is what it is. And I'm just seeing, I was just thinking today, I'm like, you know what? These last few meetings, I haven't heard anybody saying, my loved one's addicted to heroin or fentanyl, or, we're here because our loved one's an alcoholic. Well, let me tell you, a substance is a substance. If it's mind altering, it's a substance, whether it's, encephalating, whether it's shooting into the arm, whether it's, taking it orally by mouth. It's anything that changes your brain can get you held hostage from all of this. So what's stage 2?
Well, we've worked pre-contemplation, contemplation, and then preparation. I mean, they're all kind of weaved in with each other. Preparation is just some experience with change. You're testing the waters.
Exactly. Well, I'm not going to do my drug of choice today. Let's see how that works. Normally that doesn't work real well, because if you are in that stage of you have to have it every day, or you get very sick. So a lot of times stage 2 kind of falls apart, and that's, as long as you're trying and you continue trying, that's a beautiful stage, that you're moving and you're trying to figure it out.
Right.
Okay, I just won't use as much today.
Right. I mean, and I think we all can relate to this in our own lives to a point with anything, whether we want to exercise more, whatever habit in our own lives. These are natural change stages of change.
And I'm 100% there, because I am always on a healthy lifestyle change. And when I get there, when I'm like, you are so needing to do something, I'm not going to like walk around the block and say, okay, that's day 1. I'm going to walk 15 miles and back, and I'm going to be dying. And then I'm going to fail, because I started because I was like, I want to be a size 3 tomorrow. And I overdo it and I kill myself, and then I give up. So,
and that's what they call ambivalence, though.
Right.
You try it a little and then you don't.
Right, exactly. So, if you're out there and you're struggling, you don't know how to take that first step, just don't do as much as you were doing. Like, find that clarity somewhere, even if it's a small piece of clarity. Start there.
Right. Right. One of the newer terms, too, they're calling harm reduction.
Yeah.
I don't know whether, in a sense, I can relate to that. I'm not going to do this harder drug, or I'm not going to do the hard whiskey.
Right.
I'll just stick to beer.
And you know what? And it is. That's, the drugs out there today are killing people. They're killing people. And if that means that you're going to stop doing this today and do this just to get you through, and not continue to go buying on the street illegally or what have you, it's a start. You may not be clean or sober, but it's your first step to recovery. Anytime you change what you're doing, it's a step further into a better lifestyle. Unless you're going backwards, of course.
Right. So then the last two are pretty mirror each other: action and maintenance. So action is when you actually then you're in it. You're committed to trying and really making the change. You're actively engaging. And then maintenance is you have to continue it, which is one of the things that I say. One of the reasons why I like to stay involved is I want to be fresh. I want to stay fresh. I want to continue to improve with my communication skills, I want to take away being judgmental. I mean, I still catch myself with these things, but that's my maintenance. That's my...
Right. And we have to look in the mirror and say, was that the right thing to do? Are we going to get it right every day?
No.
We're human. We're not going to get it right every day. We're not going to get it right every person. We're human. We make mistakes. But that doesn't mean to stop trying. You have to just keep pulling through. And, substance use disorder is not a disease that is, done. You live with it every day for the rest of your life. And the only way you can stay where you're at is staying away from the drink, staying away from the drug, staying away from, the triggers that keep taking you back.
Right, the triggers for sure.
Because the triggers can be ugly. The triggers could be merely just getting that first paycheck after treatment.
Right.
I didn't
money.
have money before. I was stealing. I was, beating people up. I was doing things that, I said I would never do. And now you have your first paycheck. And it's like, I don't have to beg for it. I don't have to steal for it. I don't have to do things that I never wanted to do for it. I have money. And that can be a trigger. And it was weird because one of the meetings I went to, they had a speaker and his trigger was the pill bottle. Like if he saw a pill bottle, that was it. Oh, my perks, So there's just so many different triggers. A lot of people are triggered by the trauma. They've had trauma in their life.
Yeah.
And
which is the reason why some of them started using was because of something in their life they tried a drug of some sort.
Right. Tried to numb it.
And it's like, wow, I feel so much better. And then not realizing that they're going to have a problem with it, but they don't know it until after it started.
Right.
And that's the other thing. So they need to heal whatever that wound is. They need to try and do that deep work on themselves to understand. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to say that even I have that same issue to a point with the unhealthy relationship, with the boundaries. Why was I was so weak on being able to set boundaries. I didn't hold to them. I gave in to them. I was afraid, and what it came down to is what I learned for myself is it was the fear of losing the person.
Exactly.
But then I said to myself, but what I have with them is not good. So who cares if I lose it? And then I ended up developing a good relationship.
Right.
And it's like you're afraid of not being loved. I was afraid to not be loved.
Exactly. And that holds so many people back. Well, if I tell them this, then they're going to, not love me. They're going to hate me and they'll never talk to me. They're going to leave. They're going to, I'll never see them again. And that
does happen, guys. It does happen.
It does.
But but if you work on changing the way you react and changing your interaction, I feel there's a damn good chance that they'll be back. And
exactly.
You're going to feel that loss.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like hell. And, something along the way will happen and bring you back. It may not be overnight. It may not be the relationship that you wanted, but you'll have a relationship. So you just have to hold tight to that and pray that, you're doing the right thing and you're helping yourself. Because if you're not helping yourself and getting yourself stronger, you're just going to stay in that rut of depression, anxiety, and fear. You have to reach out. Support is the most important thing in this disease. Just as cancer, you can't, cancer patients can't go on without the support of people that have gone through it. And, some people will go to friends that's never had cancer, that's never had anybody with substance use disorder. And, what should I do? This is what I'm feeling. They're not going to be able to help you because they don't know what you're feeling. They don't know what you're going through. Where you talk to somebody that has a loved one in their throes of addiction, in their treatment process, or in their recovery. That's where you're going to get your support. That's when you're going to get your help. That's where you're going to get the understanding without judgment. Because, cancer, diabetes, liver disease, heart disease, they look at that as, you didn't ask for it. You didn't do anything to cause it. Where substance use is, well, you chose to pick up. They did choose to pick up. They chose not to read that 1,000-page prescription
warning.
Well, exactly. And my doctor says it's safe, and this is what, so this is what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with, cancer or things like that. They didn't wake up and say, I want to be a drug addict. I want to be, where I'm at. They chose to pick up that first time for whatever reason, but the addiction chose them. Nobody can see an addictive brain. Once it hits that receptor, it's off to the races. I feel good about myself. I feel, comfortable in my skin. And that's another, when we go to these meetings and we would have speakers come in, they weren't like, I was raped, I was this, my parents beat me. Maybe 3 out of the 10 people that you listen to, they just didn't feel comfortable in their skin.
Right, they weren't comfortable with themselves. Whether it was, there could have been shy around people.
Exactly.
Or
anxiety,
right,
social anxiety.
And so when they would use it, it helped them handle whatever it was that they felt that they needed to be better at.
Exactly. And
just like so often growing up as a young person with the alcohol, I can't dance yet, I need a few more beers in me yet.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect example of it in a sense.
Oh, I'm going to get my tooth extracted and they're going to give me the good stuff. And it's just, but then when you're on this side of the fence on that, it's just when you hear that, it's just like, oh God, you just don't even know what that could lead to.
Right.
And
I think a lot more dentists are starting to come on board with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they don't give out the...
I think dentists are more than doctors.
Yeah,
doctors
probably.
Still, I have 2 people now that have gone in to have medical procedures done. And they said, absolutely, I cannot have any narcotic. I can have no narcotics in my system. Well, this is what we're doing. You're going to need to have this Percocet for the pain afterwards. I broke my finger. Or I just had a baby. Motrin can help with that pain. Advil can help with that pain. We don't need the major medications unless it's a serious operation. I know somebody out there that is in recovery. They had some major medical surgeries done, and several of them, and they were monitored and they were taken care of. And it's like, listen, I can't have it by injection because that would probably definitely throw them right back. But orally, it doesn't take effect as quickly as it would being injected. So give it to me orally. Don't give it to me in my IV. Don't give it to me through a shot. I can handle it better that way. When you're putting it in IV form, then it hits your receptors a lot faster, and then that could take you right back. But as long as you're open and honest. But Ashley, she's been on the show. She had a baby, all natural, and they kept pushing Percocet. And she's like, I can't have it. Well, this baby tore you up. You're going to need stitches, and you are going to be in pain. And she said, I don't care. I cannot take it. And the nurse was kind of bitchy, and she was just like, okay. and she did. She,
And she did it though, huh?
She did it. She was in pain. Trust me, her face was distorted in every direction, but she was not going to do it. She knows herself. So, my other friend that went through that, very open and honest, and no, I don't want it, but you have to, because you're not going to heal in this amount of pain. It's not like getting stitched up and the pain's there and then, you're not being stitched up anymore. Yeah, you're sore, you just gave birth, but you just had your chest opened. And if you're in pain, you're not going to be able to heal. And we have to monitor you. And if we have a problem, we're going to follow you through all the way. So you have to be open about that. Because if you're not, then things can get scary for you. And I'm just sharing this out, guys. So you just have to be mindful. Because, we just think, well, give me a Percocet. I just, I have a toothache or what have you. And then it's all better. But when you have an addictive brain that can't be seen, and I know my loved one was getting MRIs, CAT scans, x-rays from the age of 4. And there was no way to tell that, as he gets older, don't give him, any kind of medication that would be a narcotic, because he's got an addictive brain. And that's, I wish there was a tool like that. You just gave birth. Oh, by the way, I see here on this scan that, they have they don't have receptors that are, going to keep them away from becoming an addict. So we have to be mindful of it and really just help the next person, because the support is what is needed. The support is what is needed here with the family, there with the loved one. And I don't care what kind of support it is.
So if I can kind of take that down a little level to the younger children, though, it's known, there have been studies that say the longer that you wait before using any type of a substance, the better chances that you will have to hopefully not become addictive. I mean, they're saying that the brain doesn't mature until, first they were saying 26, 27, I think it's up to 28 now.
Yeah.
But the point is, I would have never myself thought that the brain is not mature until that late. Like we I think 18. It's mature at 18.
Yeah.
but it's truly not. And having conversations with our young children at an early age somehow. I know there's been DARE, there's been, I don't know, maybe we're not having the right kind of conversation.
We're not having the right and I'll go back to, it won't happen to me. I'm smarter than that. Don't worry, Mom. It won't happen to me. I'm smarter than that.
But then, okay, but having an open communication, or moms or dads or grandparents or aunts and uncles,
Exactly.
like checking in with your little ones and saying, well, how did it get, what happens when you go over to so and so's house? Or asking them, have you seen anybody else use, and how did that make you feel?
Yeah. And
Like, because open, just one thing that I think too, I feel that people are afraid to have the conversation because they think that then they're not condoning it. What's the word that like it's okay to do it?
right.
But that's not the case when you have these conversations. You're just
Or
trying to keep the door open for when your loved one may say like, oh, I was over at this party and this and that happened. But then of course when you find out this information, you can't freak out and have a bird.
right. And you have to say, well, what did you learn from that? Like,
Or thank you for telling me this.
and being open, like, listen, please don't ever feel that you can't share this with me.
Right.
Because I know I went about it all wrong. My loved one, you can't do this. My loved one is, our whole family is affected by this. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, siblings. Everybody is affected by this. And you are pretty much going to become an addict. We won't know that until you put the substance in your body. But then you can tell them till you're blue in the face, but if you're not opening that conversation, and they're addicts, they look what they have nothing. They died with this, and they don't have a house, they don't have this, they don't have that. Is that the way you want to live your life? I want better for you, blah 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 blah. They're junkies or whatever. We have to watch
all that negativity. That's a lot of negativity, a lot of judgment, no compassion, no self-awareness, no.
And that's when you step back and you say, with the education, like, oh my God, if I had only changed that conversation.
Right, because I can even relate to that in a sense with dating a boy that your parents aren't going to like. Yeah. You're not going to tell them.
No.
You're not going, because what your parents are going, they're going to be, how they're going to react. And in the same sense, it's the same thing with the drugs.
It is.
If we as the adults, as the grandmoms, as the aunt, try to talk to our loved ones, and maybe in ways where they'll open up and be honest. And then you can motivate. That's the whole thing, is trying to motivate them to make better choices.
And that's important because you think you have an open conversation, but Barb says the judgment pissed me off. Of course it pissed you off because it was being judgmental. It wasn't, listen, I'm concerned. What can we do to help you, get through this? What can we change? No, listen, I don't like the way you're acting. You're acting like an asshole. You're forgetting this. You're forgetting that. And you did this and you did that. So, yeah, the judgment is there, and we have to find a better way to talk to our loved ones and help them understand that, we love them and we want to help them.
Well, and I think the judgment, how much does the judgment go with behaviors make sense? Like, we can judge, but if we really ask, then we can understand why you're acting this way or why you're doing what you're doing instead of the judging. Do I have that? I mean, Barb, you want to say something more about that? I don't know your story, but nobody likes to really be judged.
No.
Period.
No. I don't like it when somebody says, hey, fatty.
Like, you should be doing it this way. This is what you should be doing.
The reason you're not getting it is because you're doing it this way, and I know why I'm doing it, because I want to be a size 3 tomorrow, so I'm gonna climb Mount Everest and come back down a size 3, and it never happens that way. I wish it did. Yes, I can have that candy bar, but if I need to go jogging for 3 hours. But
So I want to change the subject a little bit, and I don't know, you may know about this already. I have no idea, or if you've talked about it with your listeners. I was listening to a show about the difficulty with insurance and getting your loved ones covered, which we were all pretty familiar with that. But they were talking about this parity law. Have you heard of that?
no.
So there actually is a law out there where insurance companies cannot make the rules differently for getting substance use treatment or mental health treatment.
Really?
The deductibles are supposed to be the same as your normal medical, and they're not allowed to put more constraints on it. And there actually is, it's through the Department of Labor, there is a place that you can call, and they can help people with their insurance companies. If the insurance companies are saying no to the treatment, this Department of Labor division is there to help. And I'll share that with you later. If you put it on your...
Yeah, I can put it on the page. So check that out, guys.
If you want to Google the parity law, if anybody's having trouble with their insurance company. But mostly I was very impressed that there was actually a department that's willing to help. And there was this woman on there talking about how there was no treatment center, nobody around that could help. Like, there was no list of centers that are in their network. Well, how can you do that? You've got to allow some sort of a place near you that you can go to for treatment. You shouldn't have to be going somewhere that's 80 miles away. That's an example of that they need to make a change, and there was a word for that, a different reconsideration in your insurance to allow you to go somewhere closer. Which I didn't know about.
Right. And I did know that they are starting to change the insurance process, because the insurance are the ones telling the treatment centers, we're only going to give them 10 days. We're only going to allow them to detox. And that's causing a lot of people to relapse. It takes 128 days to change the brain. And 90 days is not going to cut it. 90 days is just getting it out of your system. And then you trying to figure out in that 28 days that routine. Well, you have that routine because you have to go to the meetings. You have to participate in order to stay in treatment.
Right.
And when you're released from treatment, nobody's holding you accountable for that routine to continue. And that's where relapse comes in. But I did hear something, and I didn't hear anything more on it, on how they were going to start changing up the insurance process. And I know sitting there with somebody and helping them through the process of admitting into a treatment center's 8 hours. Well, in 8 hours, they're like ready.
They're running
done.
out the door.
They're, you know what it's like to try and keep somebody that is now sick and suffering into a treatment center. It's
not. They're gonna run.
No. And how many people have passed away because they said, I need to get high before I go because it's a long process. And that's their last one. And that's what's a problem with our systems. Our systems are failing us all around. So I'm glad to see that, you know, they're really trying to push for the insurance change.
Yes, for better mental health insurance.
I am annoyed that they're not pushing a great deal on 12-step. That's annoying me because the government is saying we're going to cover methadone or Suboxone.
Oh. Yes, it does seem like there's a lot more of that going on than.
And my take on it is they've taken away the big pharma kickback from narcotics. And now the 12-step program's costing more money than it is just to keep them
on
making money.
Medicine.
Yep. And it's a sad, sad state of affairs. That's just not cutting it with me. It's just, I'm so annoyed with that because the 12-step programs are the most successful programs in the recovery world. You don't hear it because a lot of it's anonymity still. A lot of people don't, speak out, but a lot of people do. And we need to get back to that more. We need to share that on our pages. We need to, get it out there so that we know what's going on. Larry says, I had to jump through hoops to get my insurance to stretch my rehab stay from 14 to 28 days. And it's true. You really do have to, what's the word? When you're helping somebody. What is that word? Advocate.
Oh.
You really have to advocate for yourself.
And that's hard to do when you're trying to recover. And then you're stressing because you might have to leave the next day because your insurance isn't going to cover it.
Exactly. And that's why that's why it's so important that you talk to somebody that can help you advocate on the outside, because it's hard on the inside because you're in meetings, you're in this, you're in that, you're not able to get to the phone all the time. It's so important to have somebody advocating for you. Whether it's somebody that you met that was just released, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whoever it is, you need to get that support, that advocate to help you. And so important. Barb says, I went to rehab and the person who recruited me said I was in network and now I have a bill. And fight it. Advocate, fight.
That might be something that you, Barbie, should look into, that parity thing. And I don't know. Especially if they said they were in network.
Right. So I'm just putting it into the comments. So it's called the parity law. So check it out, Barb. See if that you can get help that way. I was going to fix this problem on my own and my own time frame. Yes, we all want to fix it on our own time frame, but it doesn't happen. Yes. So check it out. Maybe it'll help. What are you looking for?
I was looking. I don't know what I did with my phone because I was going to look for the link to the labor division that can help. But oh well, I'll have to share it with you later.
Well, here we go. There you go. If you know what it is, to where to Google it, we'll try and get that link up for you. But yeah, and talk to your state representatives. Talk to, your drug and alcohol commissions. Reach out. You just have to keep fighting because this is just a difficult disease, and you don't need all the other bullshit on top of it. Just keep pushing and keep trying. That's all I can say. Because they don't want to have to pay for a 12-step program, and it's proven fact that the 12-step program works. And the slogans, it works if you work it. And I think the most important part of that is when you stop and listen and you let the information in and you open your heart to it. Some people are there because of court reasons. Some people are there so they don't have to face jail time. Some people are there because they have no other place to go. They've been, thrown out of the house. They've been living on the streets. So some people just go right into treatment just to pacify the family. And they're not in it to win it. They're not there. They're not listening. They're not taking the suggestions. And they're not, hearing what they're saying.
Well, I don't know. It's one of them two links.
The one first and the second. I wish I knew how to.
What is this one saying? Please about mental health parity and addiction. Understanding your mental health and substance use disorder benefits.
That's probably these two.
Right.
Oh. I'm being blonde. I'm sorry.
What? What do you mean? How do you figure?
Because I'm thinking I can copy and paste and put it there.
There's probably a way for you to do that, though. Because you had your show up on your phone.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can. Yes. I'm a dork. Let's see. No. Where is it? Don't mind me, guys. Sometimes I can be pretty blonde, so. And I can say that because I am blonde. So, don't yell at me for judging blonde people. No, I can't do it. I'll figure it out. I'll get it there. Oh, what happened to it? Now, where did it go? I don't think we're going to be doing it, but I'll put it on my page. I'll definitely put it on my page. Is it there? No, that's not that. That's this. There it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot and then I'll put it onto the page. Unless Richard can put it into there for me.
I don't know if you took a screenshot. If it's the full link or not. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we don't know that either. But I'll figure it out and I'll put it on my page.
Just type it in on the keyboard in the phone.
I can't because I don't have my glasses. Can you do it? You have glasses.
What is she trying to do?
That's the second one and the third one. So we'll get it in there. But we'll also put it onto my page as well. So, yeah, check it out because any information that you can find that helps get you into treatment and, the walls don't go up. That's the hardest thing. There's so many walls to break down. And, for a loved one, and I can't say this enough, make sure you're making a copy of their driver's license, their medical card, birth certificate, anything that could stop them from getting into treatment, because that is such an issue for our loved ones, especially if they have all that information and they've lost their home or they've lost, all of they walk around with trash bags with everything in it. And you have to be careful, this is the one thing that can put a big hold on getting them into treatment. No ID, no license, no nothing. And at least if you have a copy of it, you can at least try and pull it or what have you. At least give it to the treatment center, because there's nothing scarier than, oh, she definitely needs this help and she definitely needs to get in. Where's her ID? And then it's like, oh, they stole my backpack. And now you have to jump through hoops. Now you have to wait for DMV to open. And be mindful when your loved one is ready for treatment. And they say on Saturday night at 4:00, I'm ready to go. Can we go? Let's get in. And more than likely, they're going to say, yes, okay, this. Oh, okay, we have all your information. Call back first thing Monday morning at 8:00 because that's another system fail. We don't have any beds now. It just gets me so angry. And a lot of times they do it, it's a manipulation tool. Well, they see that I'm trying, so they'll give me money so I can get high because, if I have to wait till Monday, I'm going to go out, so they'll give me a shower, they'll feed me, they'll give me some money to keep me from being sick, and then come Monday morning, they're like, see ya, because that window has shut, and that window shuts tight. So make sure that they're in it to win it as well, and they're not manipulating. Let them shower.
It's a scary place to be, because I've experienced that. Mm-hmm. I've experienced my son in a bad place. He was in the hospital, actually. Mm-hmm. Couldn't breathe very well. And they wanted to admit him, and he wanted to jump out of his skin. They're like, I can't be in here overnight. I need to get...
Exactly. I have nothing that will make me well here.
And I got to... He's like, I got to go find something for him to keep him there.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's insanity. That's insanity. Like, now I am... Like, I could be arrested. I could be doing something. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You could be giving him the last...
Yeah.
breath, and that just, it just gets me so upset, because I know that parent, that spouse is going to have to live with that for the rest of their lives, going to get them their last, and then them dying from it. And it's happened. It happens a lot. And not only do you now have to deal with the fact you lost your loved one, but you're the one that gave them that drug. You're the one that went and got it so that they would
You were an accomplice.
Mm-hmm. And that's your guilt. You're going to live with that for the rest of your life. So you have to really be mindful on where we're going with this. You give them the money, you're going to feel guilt and shame and live with that all your life. Yes, just remember, us people who are functioning, and we just have to be mindful. We have to be mindful of what we're doing. Are we enabling or are we helping? And are we being manipulated, or are they being serious? We have 15 minutes left, folks. So if you are struggling, you have something that you need to get off your chest and need help with, please pop it into the chat there, or come over to the screen and call in at 267-737-8031. We're here and we will share whatever suggestions we have that we've lived through or we've done ourselves. So don't forget it. Anything you want to end on?
Just something, well, like I said, there's some things that I've written down that I think are very helpful. That the same excuses that we have for not going and doing our work as the non-identified patient are the exact excuses that the addict has. I don't need it. I can do this on my own. I don't have a problem. The list is the exact same. That's just going on that we, and I always have said, I'm in my own recovery. I had to work at something as well. Not just my loved one. I needed to make some changes.
And that is so hard for people to do. And you have to remember, just as hard as you're working to get yourself where you need to be, remember they're working that hard, and if not harder, because they don't have that drug to help them anymore. So that's their lifeline while they're trying to get to a place of recovery. So try to keep that in mind as well. I'm copying this and putting in, I'm not seeing it pop up though. So I didn't know. I'm hoping.
I put this stuff up on there.
Oh, did you? Up on the, I don't see it. I have it in here, but I'm going to put these two on my page, Living Hopeful, and Living Hopeful Lower Bucks County. That is a closed, the Lower Bucks County is a closed page, so that people that want to stay anonymous can go into that page and join it, and only those that are on the page will see anything that you may post. But yeah, just keep in mind, keep just phone numbers available and give it to them. Like, if we're calling them and they get into a treatment center, this sucks, I can't believe you put me here, you know, you're the one that found this place, there's no way I'm going to get better here. That's what you're going to be up against. Here's a list of the rehabs in our area. Call around and see what you can find. I know my loved one tried and came to me and said he needed help. Like, he couldn't do it. He was trying. And, you know, 2 phones, two lists, and we kept going until we found, you know, the help that was out there. And, you too, John. Thanks for joining us. But that, you know, as long as they're willing to do the work, there's no reason why you can't jump in and take half the list. But if they're like, well, I don't know where to go, I don't know where to, and, you know, can you call for me? No, there's probably manipulation going on.
Right. What we always say, if we're working harder than they are, that's manipulation.
Yeah.
Codependency or...
Yes. It'll get me another meal, it'll get me a shower, it'll get me clean clothes, whatever. I forgot to take my allergy pill today. Can you tell? But, yeah, and just keep those references. If you have a loved one that is struggling, look up as much as you can on addiction, on substance use. Look for the meetings, the support meetings, whether you're the person that is needing the help or whether you're the family member that or friend that loves them. Support is the number one key to helping yourself help them, seeing where you need to be in this. Because we're always trying to be in it, we're always trying to fix it, and we're always trying to do for them.
Too much control.
Way too much control. And, you know, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. I see it many times in our meetings, how many people well, they were doing really good, you know, they keep going to the meeting, so, you know, I gave them their car back. And that lasted 5 minutes, you know, and they're back at it again. We just have to be mindful and remember, we're not dealing with a loved one that has the normal brain. We're dealing with a loved one that has been affected by drugs or alcohol and, you know, feel that's the only way they can function is with that in their system until they get into a program and they find people that help them through this. You know, we can be helping them right back into their relapse. And relapse doesn't mean collapse. It just means that they probably really weren't putting the work into it and they weren't ready for it. I know my loved one's first two rehabs was for us because we were just so, well, I know it was me because I'm, you know, growing up and seeing so many people pass from drugs back in the day. I didn't see hope. I didn't see a future. I saw death. That's all I could see. And that, you know, when you see these movies where their legs buckle and they fall down just from all of that upsetment, I'm like, yeah, such acting. Like, that's so ridiculous. No, when you're dealing with that, like, it's a punch in the gut and you're...
I remember one of the first times that my loved one walked out of the detox, and he said to me, "I'm not done getting high," and I just lost it.
Mm-hmm. You do. It's, and then
I was so devastated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what are you seeing? You're not seeing the hope. You're not seeing a good future, and it's a punch in the gut. It really, truly is. And I remember my loved one, oh, they fixed them, that's it. You know, my loved one won't relapse. Like, and then when it happens, it's like, you know, you're back to day one again. And it's such a scary feeling. And that's why I have to be here and continue this because tomorrow's never promised. And that scares me. But I don't let the fear live in me. You know, I know I'll be back to day one. My knees will probably go out and, you know, be back to, but because I've have this education, I have the support, I know I can bounce back and get my strength back and continue with the program. Barb says, I have to say I don't care for meetings, but my sponsor is a godsend. And you know what? You have to do what you have to do for you. If meetings aren't working for you, then find something. If it's your sponsor that's helping you, that's great. If you don't care for meetings, try other meetings. because not every meeting is the same.
Right, they're not.
They're absolutely not. And the same meeting, you go to the meeting on Thursday nights at whatever, and you go to that meeting, you don't care for it. The following week could be a whole different meeting. It could be a book meeting that really resonates with you. So try different meetings, try different avenues for support. Get phone numbers. You know, talk to people that are in recovery and are doing well with it, and you like what you're seeing, and they give you shit when you're not doing the right thing. Because Barb knows that's what she needs. Barb knows we'll call her out on her shit, and we'll hold her ass accountable for it too. And she's been with the show for quite a while, and she was here when she wasn't ready, and she would ask for help, and I'm like, well, this is what you need to do, but I knew she wasn't ready for it until she was ready for it, and here she is.
That's good.
She's back, and she's doing well.
Keep working it.
And I just want to say happy anniversary to Living Hopeful. We're 6 years doing this now.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
Yes, it just came up on my
your feed?
My feed. Living Hopeful. You know, this is your 6-year anniversary.
Today?
So, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
So I was like, wow, that was real fast. I mean, we've only been doing the show live for 2 years, but Living Hopeful support page has been up for 6 years now. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So it took me 2 years to become part of the support journey. So, you know, keep coming back and keep reaching out. That's the only thing I can say. You have to reach out. You can't get help if you don't reach out and ask for it. You know my number, 267-737-8031. I'm always available before, after, and during the show. It doesn't stop within the hour and a half we're here with you. I'm always available to talk to. If I don't answer, please leave a message, phone number. I will get back to you. And text me if you're really in dire need of talking, because I will jump off of whatever is keeping me occupied, unless it's somebody else in dire straits. Then, you know, I'll go back and forth. But just keep reaching out, keep pushing forward to a happier, healthier life. That's all I can tell you. And we appreciate you coming, and congratulations. You're a great help for, and I'm sure for others, for you and others. So thanks, Lar. You're a great help to our family groups, because they get to see the other side, which we don't get to hear often anymore. So thank you for being here and sharing your side of it, and you know, coming to the family group meetings so that the newbies can hear, you know, a loved one's side. So with that being said, everybody, it's 10:30. We will be back here next Friday. I'm not sure if we'll have a guest, but I'm hoping to have more guests, be more active with that. And we will see you here next Friday, 9 to 10:30. Thanks for coming, guys. Have a good night. We love you. Peace out.